Peace, and welcome to another episode of the Quranic Remedies, where we spend about 15 minutes exploring a page from the Quran together and seeing how we can apply the verses to our lives. And hopefully, with God's permission, it helps us heal our brain, body, mind, and soul. So today we'll be reading from chapter 4, The Women, from verses 87 to 91. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. I seek refuge to God from the accursed devil. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. In the name of God, the Gracious, the Merciful. Allahu la ilaha illa hu, liyajma'annakum ila yawmil qiyamati la rayba fih, wa man asdaqu min Allahi haditha. God, there is no deity except He. He will gather you to the day of resurrection, in which there is no doubt. And who speaks more truly than God? فَمَا لَكُمْ فِي الْمُنَافِقِينَ فِئَتَيْنِ وَاللَّهُ أَرْكَسَهُمْ بِمَا كَسَبُوا أَتُرِيدُونَ أَن تَهْدُوا مَنْ أَضَلَّ اللَّهُ وَمَنْ يُضْلِلِ اللَّهُ فَلَنْ تَجِدُ لَهُ سَبِيلًا. What is the matter with you divided into two factions regarding the hypocrites, when God Himself has overwhelmed them on account of what they did? Do you want to guide those whom God has led astray? Whomever God leads astray, you will never find for him a way. وَدُّوا لَوْ تَكْفُرُونَ كَمَا كَفَرُوا فَتَكُونُونَ سَوَاءً فَلَا تَتَّخِذُوا مِنْهُمْ أَوْلِيَاءَ حَتَّى يُهَاجِرُوا فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ فَإِنْ تَوَلُّوا فَخُذُوهُمْ وَاقْتُلُوهُمْ حَيْثُ وَجَدتُّمُوهُمْ وَلَا تَتَّخِذُوا مِنْهُمْ وَلِيًّا وَلَا نَصِيرًا. They would love to see you disbelieve just as they disbelieve, so you would become equal. So do not befriend any of them unless they immigrate in the way of God. If they turn away, seize them and execute them wherever you may find them, and do not take from among them allies or supporters. إلا الذين يصلون إلى قوم بينكم وبينهم ميثاق أو جاءوكم حسرة صدورهم أن يقاتلوكم أو يقاتلوا قومهم ولو شاء الله لسلطهم عليكم فليقاتلوكم فإن اعتزلوكم فلم يقاتلوكم وألقوا إليكم السلم فما جعل الله لكم عليهم سبيلا. Except those who join people with whom you have a treaty, or those who come to you reluctant to fight you or fight their own people. Had God willed, He would have given them power over you, and they would have fought you. If they withdraw from you and do not fight you and offer you peace, then God assigns no excuse for you against them. ستجدون آخرين يريدون أن يأمنوكم ويأمنوا قومهم كلما ردوا إلى الفتنة أركسوا فيها فإن لم يعتزلوكم ويلقوا إليكم السلام ويكف أيديهم فخذوهم واقتلوهم حيث ثقفتموهم وأولئكم جعلنا لكم عليهم سلطانا مبينا. You will find others whom want security from you and security from their own people. But whenever they are tempted into civil discord, they plunge into it. So if they do not withdraw from you, nor offer you peace, nor restrain their hands, seize them and execute them wherever you find them. Against these, we have given you clear authorization. Sadaqallah al-Azim. God the Great said the truth. These verses start with a very important verse that we need to always keep in mind. There is no deity except God. There are no gods, there are no deities, there are no rule setters, there are no people capable or entities capable of changing this reality or manifesting reality other than God. God is your Lord, God is the God. There is no doubt in regards to God's existence, the Creator. God is giving you a word, and who is more truthful than God when He gives you a word? That you will be resurrected. Now, these verses that we're about to read, or that we just read, the verses that come after this specific verse, they're pertaining to war again. And yes, there was a major theme in the verses that we read in this chapter in regards to hypocrites. And God is now directing us again in regards to the hypocrites. One thing that is interesting to note, that when it comes down to hypocrisy, people still always try to find the good in people. They tend to give the benefit of doubt to certain individuals that they have good in them, and that they hopefully would see the way and revert and do what they need to do and go back to actually holding the rope of God. But sometimes when the hypocrisy is clear and clear cut, especially when God has given you a way to test if a person is being honest in the way that he believes or not, when they fail the test, at that point there is no need to try to find a way for these individuals. This, in our case in the Quran, it shows that these individuals, they said they believe in God and they are following the messenger, yet when God through his messenger, ordered them to immigrate, they chose to stay behind. They chose to stay with the people who persecuted them, to stay among the people that wanted to just sit and go for the worldly life. And they are also trying to convince you into just playing along or just look at their hypocrisy and that it's permissible just so that you would also be a hypocrite like them. Now, the thing is that they don't realize is that this hypocrisy is very clear to the believer. It's abundantly clear to God, and God has shown us in the Quran on how to identify these types of hypocrisy and how to deal with them. Now, in regards to people persecuting you and fighting you, and these individuals are coming to you saying that they believe you and they're part of your community, yet when they ever have a chance to also fight you, they would do so. Those individuals God has given us authority over because of their clear hypocrisy and the fact that they do not want to submit to what God has said and they want to go as far as fighting you. Then there is no apologetics here. There is no sugarcoating. Those that want to fight you and eliminate you, you have every right to fight and eliminate them. This is something that God has made very clear in the Quran, because at this point, the reason why they want to eliminate you is not because of the way that you look or the way that you dress or the color of your skin or the name that you carry, but rather it is truly because of your religion. That's why God is using this word hypocrites. These individuals say they believe in your religion, but yet they are planning an espionage. They are wishing that you would disbelieve. Now, this is where God is making it clear that in this case that they had to immigrate to show that they were truly sincere with what they're saying. That means that they had to leave their family, they had to leave their wealth, they had to leave their businesses, they had to leave what they used to know and what they used to do for quite some time, because this is the area that they grew up in, and migrate to what it seems like 400 to 500 kilometers away, or about 250 miles away. This is a significant change for somebody who's living 1400 years ago. And this was an incredible test to show that truly, are you willing to give up this world for the hereafter? Because this is what God has promised you. And God does not fail his promise. And who's going to be more honest in his narrations or in his statements or in his events other than God? When God tells you that there's a day of judgment, that it's worth it for you to leave everything right now and to go strive in what would benefit you and benefit society. Now, I don't believe anybody in that area, including the Prophet, would understand the magnitude of how much their work that they were doing was going to affect the amount of people that it has affected in the next 1400 years after Prophet Muhammad passing away. So these individuals that immigrated and they went and they strived with their selves and they strived with their money and they sacrificed for God, it might not seem as much, especially living in this era or this time where we're capable of getting much of a lot of material needs, but their sacrifices is just because of the percentage of how much they gave, and some of them gave 100%, including their lives. These individuals have shaped the future in such a significant way. Of course, nobody can give 100%, but they gave everything and mostly whatever they had. And yes, they did consume from what God has given them, but they've sacrificed a lot more than they kept. But their sacrifices is now part of the story of why we're still reading this book 1400 years after the fact. So it is very important to understand that God knew the implications and knew why he's sending these verses, and he knew the magnitude of how much this is going to change the world and how much of a ripple effect this is going to have in history. And therefore, this is why God is telling you here that it is not a problem to fight those that fight you. Because your mission is that important. Your mission is going to overcome and the disbelievers or the polytheists, and you are going to succeed. But notice there's a rule to the fight. This is not just anybody who comes to you and seems like a hypocrite to fight them, but rather, if you look at the verse, is that they have, like the individuals that also you have permission to fight, they did not give you peace. They did not restrain their hands. They did not withdraw from you. They were there, and whenever they had a chance, let's assume that they were given a way for them not to fight you, yet they chose to fight you. Those individuals, you definitely have the ability to fight and render them eliminated, just because that is their goal against you. That is what they want for you. God has not told us to be welcome mats and just to take the slap and give the other cheek. There are times where it's forgiveness is good, and you should always forgive. But in the times of when it comes down to your religion, there is no compromise. It's very good to adapt so that you are capable of still meshing with the society without breaking God's rules, which is compromising from what your religion is. And there's definitely no compromising when somebody's trying to put a sword or a gun to your head and tell you that this is not the way, that you cannot believe or practice your religion in that way. Because at that point, taking the bullet is worth it. Taking the knife is worth it. Because you truly stood for the truth. And who is more honest than God? And God did promise you that you're going to have a very significant reward, that even if you lived 1,000 years in this world and you've collected as much as you could collect, it's not going to amount to the feelings that you're going to receive on the day of judgment, the happiness that comes with satisfying your Lord and showing to your Lord, which he already knows what is in your heart, that you are capable of showing that loyalty to God. And finally, whatever materials you're going to get into heaven, even if you get one thing, it's going to outlast everything that's in this world. So it's definitely worth it. Now, there are other individuals where God tells you that you do not have the right to attack. Those that do not agree with you, yet they do not want to attack you. They are being civil. So notice you do not need to be a believer for you to be civil. This is where some atheists make these remarks in regards to that. No, you know what? Morality is inherent, that there are ways to understand how to live in a society without the need of God. Well, these are individuals that don't realize that God has programmed that in them, for them to always go to the peace, for them to truly understand that the society will function better if people just keep giving peace to each other. And when there are altercations or people getting upset at each other, there's ways to deal with it. But the important fact, which is not going to ever happen, is that all of humanity has the ability and should live peacefully side by side, despite whatever issues and problems that they have. And when they're not living side by side in peace, then the war that is worthy of fighting, it has to be against the devil and the plan of the devil, rather than just two factions fighting each other, when at that time it's just the devil versus another devil, and whoever's the bigger devil tends to win. Because at that point, you're not really getting supported by God, despite God giving the victory to whom he wants. Now, there are also these cases where there are middlemen, mediators. These individuals, they're not part of you. They don't like you. They don't want to be with your beliefs. But if you treat these people justly, and if you treat these people like your brothers, you do not know that maybe your actions or your words, if you say them in a proper manner, can change the hearts of certain individuals, and you show them the truth on how it feels to truly be a servant of God. Now, these mediators can be between you and a group that is an enemy to you. And the mediator himself does not need to be someone from your clan. Here in this case, because they have given you peace, and they did not throw their hands at you in warfare, nor are they wanting to kill their own people in regards to the migration, God says that you do not have a right to hurt them or to kill them or to dispel them or to fight them. Because they're standing up into what is the truth, and they might have some civil discussions with you in regards to your religion, just because they have not made moves against you and they allowed you to be a human being and have your own rights, then this is permissible. This is a good thing, and it's not permissible for you to attack them. Now, these verses they come in a very articulate style. To some people will say that it's very blunt and harsh. When it comes down to the concepts of war and fighting and hypocrisy, God tells us that we have to be harsh in those types of settings. In war, there are rules. You can't just kill anybody and everybody. You have to attack those individuals that are attacking you and have actually committed to being part of the force, the military force or the physical force that is attacking the believers. God is not telling you here to take anybody, randoms and strangers, and to go out and kill them. This is a verse where there are similarities with the verses that follow it and verses across the Quran. You've never had the right to commit murder when people are not intending to fight you. They do not need to cast the stone. They do not need to throw the sword at you. But when they make the intent that they're coming to attack you, or they have been attacking you, then at that point you can fight them until they are subdued or they give you peace. And that's where God in these verses has constantly said that if they have removed their hands off you, or they have not thrown their hands off you, and they have given you peace. And giving you peace means that you as a human being as well can recognize that and give that back. The problem with hypocrites is they might yell peace, yet they have a knife behind their back waiting to take an opportunity to hit you. The unfortunate part is on certain individuals, they take this religion as a way or a mean to divide people, as if they have the authority to dictate what is right and wrong. And this is why these verses in the wrong hands can be taken out of context, and somebody can issue commands to certain followers that they have, which at the end, the innocent get hurt. But this is where the reason and this programming that God has given us, this natural programming that God has given us, saves us from such interpretation. If the person had good in him and he's truly inclining towards peace, and he's truly inclining towards the creed of Abraham, and truly inclining to what God has shown us in the Quran. This is something that is extremely clear in these verses and how they present themselves. And just because God has given you the permission to fight, it shouldn't be the first option that you take, nor shall you be the aggressor. And you have to be extremely careful lest you hurt somebody that God is going to produce some good from them. Just because you don't see it now, and maybe they have signs of hypocrisy, there are verses where God even goes as far as forgiving some hypocrites because they were capable of actually admitting to their sin. With that said, I hope you guys are enjoying these. All praise to our Lord, the Lord of the worlds, and peace be upon you.